Do you wish someone had seen something in you at an early age that has really impacted where you are today? Or have you had that experience? Do you feel like the passion that you have is what has driven you year on year on year to carry on? Or are you really good at getting in the zone where your genius just flies? Or are you not? In this episode, I'm going to touch on all of these three things. Stay tuned.
You're listening to The Brand Compass, conversations to navigate your way to building a brand fit for purpose and poised for success. Here's your host, Shelley, Rostlund.
Hello there, my friend. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully, you've come to know that this is the place where we gently and openly talk about all the ways in which your personal brand meets the humans you serve. This is another one of my reflection episodes. I wanted to go back on the discussions that I've had with Darryn Eggleton, my highly talented South African friend who's a wildlife artist, in episode 67, and the fizzbomb that is Steph Lee-Vae in episode 68, who is a gorgeous human doing phenomenal work influencing and paving the way for young people and future artists. Now, if you haven't listened to these in full, I'm hoping after I've shared my reflections today, it might encourage you to go back and do that. Now, remember, there's 6 of these conversations with people who are subject matter experts in their fields. They're live and there for you to go and glean some light and inspiration from to maybe help you shape a version of yourself that you're happy to share with the outside world. Before I get started, I wanted you to know that I take your time really seriously, and I wouldn't waste it by producing an episode which you'd get nothing from. I'm not here to hear my own voice. In fact, I'm quite fatigued hearing my own voice and seeing my face. But what drives me is the joy that I get from finding these extraordinary humans to talk to, spend time with, and to get into where their true genius talents lie. Each person that I bring on to share the mic with me has spent time with me beforehand, because I feel like you will get a lot more from listening to us if we have rapport and I can pull out those shiny, beautiful human stories that they've got buried in them. I've spent on average between 6 to 8 hours preparing for each one of these conversations that I'm doing in this series, and that includes researching, meeting them beforehand, planning out our talking points. And it doesn't include all the work afterwards in getting it finished and polished and out there so that you can listen to it as you are right now. I learn more about myself as well as a host by listening back to these discussions, and I do quite often. I'm looking to learn where I can do better as a host to help improve the experience for you as a listener and also sharpen the value each time I do these. My view is that the better I can be at bringing out the light of my guests and facilitating an engaging conversation, the more you'll enjoy it and hopefully be inspired by what they share. All right, so let's get back to today and what I actually wanted to share with you. From my conversations with Darryn and Steph, there are 3 reflections I wanted to share, and those center around these thoughts. Number 1, early encouragement helps sow seeds for genius strengths. Number 2, passion is a strong long-term driver. 3, find your Goldilocks zone as soon as possible. These will make more sense in a bit, I promise, so stick with me. Let's get going. My first reflection is around early encouragement. Now, both Darryn and Steph talked about key adults who saw something in them in an early age and took time and effort to show them that crucial early encouragement. I did notice this while I was talking to them, but it was reinforced for me when I was speaking with my friend Justin Cohen down in Poole. Hey, Justin. We were at an event together and we were musing about what we enjoyed as kids and what we ended up going on to do or go to study at university. Essentially, both of us moved away from our creativity. He said he really enjoyed writing at school, but he'd gone on to do a business degree, the same as I did. I've been writing since I was 13 years old, but I also did the sensible business degree thing. To be fair, I didn't share my writing with anyone, and I think that it was just one of my outlets as a young person to escape some of the tough stuff that was going on at home. I don't regret doing my degree. I absolutely love business and I enjoyed my degree, but it did make me think, if someone had been more interested in my writing or my creative side as a youngster, what would I be doing now? I mean, my creativity only really came out much later in life, and I do get to flex it more in my day-to-day work now. For Darryn, when he was at high school, or secondary school as we call it here in the UK, the principal of the school actually commissioned him to do a painting for his bar at home. He was one of the first adults to recognise his talents, and apparently when it was finished, he brought it into school and they made a big deal of it in front of the whole school, which was a huge planting of a seed in a young Darryn's mind. His next opportunity came at 18 when he was offered to be a resident artist at Leopard Creek, which is a luxury golf resort on the banks of the Crocodile River in the Kruger National Park, which catapulted his focus into his painting, and is also why leopards are still his favourite animal to paint today. Steph talked about earning a black belt in karate at 14 years old and got the opportunity to go and train for a week in the French Alps in order to be able to teach karate to adults. The seed was planted early in growing a love of imparting knowledge and teaching others. Later in secondary school, an art teacher who saw Steph's artistic potential invested their own time to take Steph to extra art lessons every week for 2 years to help gain an A-level in art because it wasn't offered at the school that they were at. For my non-UK listeners, that's the last 2 years of school between 16 and 18. This meant everything to Steph, and is why there is such a drive to give back and to also use art and creativity as a positive force for change and support for young people to find their identity and a place to belong. My second reflection, which was huge for me for both Darryn and Steph, was this incredible passionate drive that they both have. I feel like it's this blue flame that sits in the center of their being, but it manifests really differently for them both. For Darryn, his passion is in how he wants people to feel when they see and experience his paintings. He spends an inordinate amount of time getting to know his subject matter, which are the African animals, and in physically being in their presence in South Africa. He has been able to beautifully pull on this indescribable force you feel when you are in the wild and in the presence of a lion, a leopard, or an elephant, and he bakes it into his paintings. His love of animals, the bush, and the heart-stopping emotions you feel when you are with these animals in their habitat are just magically expressed on canvas. With more than 1 million hours of brushstrokes, trial and error, and no doubt sweat and tears, Darryn has managed to achieve what should be a 2D experience into a 3D one, where you feel like the animal is looking straight at you and coming out of the painting. His desire to get the painting right and to give his viewers that emotive journey is what drives him to treat each new painting as if it's the most important thing in his life in that moment. And even after 25 years, this still drives him on a daily basis. In my face-to-face preparation conversation with Steph, I honestly could feel the vibration and buzz coming off them when they got talking about what it is that they do. Everything that Steph puts into the work that they do is testament to the passion and drive for making sure that the people around them are heard, seen, and included. In our conversation, it was clear that this was not limited to the 9 to 5 workday either. Everything that they do outside of work is fueled by this passion and in continuously looking for ways to help young people who struggle to find their place and just need someone to take notice and see them. I know that a lot of what both Darryn and Steph do is pretty much subject to other people's perceptions and interpretations of what is deemed good. Subjectivity is a pain in the proverbial, right? But what is also a pain is that there, unfortunately, is not many people in the world who have the skills to give good constructive feedback or give positive reinforcement of progress or natural talent or an improvement of a skill. Darryn has experienced so much rejection and many setbacks over his long career, and yet he gets up every morning and he keeps going. Steph has had to dig deep to keep the energy and enthusiasm up, even after having a diagnosis of severe endometriosis, the treatment for which has serious physical and mental symptoms to manage. Again, Steph gets up every morning and keeps going with a huge smile on their face and a pep for life, which I wish I could match. For both of these humble and talented humans, the drive to keep at it means everything, even if it can beat them down at times. Both Darryn and Steph have inspired me, and I'm all the better for knowing them. So for me, what am I going to do as a result of their stories? I know I am passionate about more people being able to be themselves and, most importantly, to be seen and understood. And I want to double down on that. Also, I do want to do more to help younger professionals who are coming up behind me. I've already picked out 3 people, I like my power of 3, who I can spend more time with and support more. So thank you, Darryn and Steph, for that. Now, my third and last reflection from these 2 amazing humans is about finding your Goldilocks zone as soon as possible and then using it to cut out the faffing, as Darryn would say. While Steph's in the flow time sounds quite similar to parts of my in the flow, where they're most energetic and excited when they're planning out larger strategic initiatives that will bring about the most change and exciting things, it was Darryn's in the flow description that I've had the most feedback from listeners. If you haven't listened to that, Darryn walked us through his process of getting into his zone, and he does it pretty much every day because he paints every day. Now, obviously, this comes after years of working out and getting to know himself and what works for him. He described that he will start with clearing his mind completely, and for him, going to the gym early in the morning works for him. Then once he's in his studio, he'll decide what he's going to start with. And then even if he doesn't feel like painting, he will just start with 1 brushstroke and then we'll keep going. It may take him about an hour or so to really get in the flow, but it will happen. And then time just disappears and the work progresses in front of him. I love that he knows the mechanism to get himself there each day. I know for me, my work is quite varied, so I do struggle a little bit to keep to the same routine. So my in the flow is different, but it definitely involves giving myself the space for it. Sometimes that means it has to be away from my desk because my desk can actually block my creativity and my thinking. I do find my head is noisy a lot lately. So I could work on that for sure. For me, I think I would like to work on my mechanism for getting into the flow more regularly, as the work that I'm doing right now is really exciting me. But I also need that creative and learning time, which refills my cup so I'm not being depleted, which can happen. I would like some more quiet space and time, but I'm finding it a little hard with lots of different things pulling at me, with aging parents, friends who've lost spouses lately, a teenager, a dog, a business, and somewhere buried under all of that is someone called Shelley, who used to be an individual at some point. Now I just sound like a walking midlife crisis, but hopefully you can resonate with some of the life admin and adulting stuff we all have to deal with, right? And that's it really, folks, for today. I think what I'm loving most about these conversations, though, is that all of these different subject matter experts across all of these fields and specialisms have one thing in common. There is always this fallible human underneath everything. A thinking, dreaming, and diverse character that just wants to be good, do good things, make magic, and be magical for others. I love that. I love unpacking their stories and getting to the crux of how they came to be who they are, why they are doing the work that they do, and what it is that they want to bring to the world. If we could focus more on having more of these kinds of conversations and shining a light on how many magnificent humans we actually have in the world, perhaps we could dial down what the mainstream media wants to distract us with and reduce the level of societal dismay and angst that they want us to rather focus on. You can choose what you absorb. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd much rather absorb stories like Gordon, Ryan, Janice, Jack, Darryn, and Steph to inspire me to feed and grow my good human instincts more. Here's a quick reminder on how to support the show by doing one of 3 simple things. Number 1, click the follow or subscribe button on the app that you're listening in right now. Number 2, giving the show a review. Letting me know if there's a particular episode that you loved. Just pop it into that review as well. Or number 3, quite simply, tell one new friend about the show. Everything helps to open up the show to a much more diverse listenership and bring more people into this conversation of trying to be more of ourselves more of the time. Who do you know that could do with hearing this episode and knowing about this series that I am doing? Share this episode. You know you want to. Until next time, my friend, stay strong, believe you have value, and you do, and make good brand decisions.
Thank you for listening to The Brand Compass. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with your entrepreneurial friends and help them make good brand decisions. Until next time, let's keep the conversation going at 𝗘𝗣𝗜𝗦𝗢𝗘𝗟𝗟.com.